Welcome to the Power Collab May Edition in the Power Platform Learners series. In this comprehensive series, you will discover a curated collection of expert discussion and the deep dives into the world of Dataverse, Dynamic CRM, Power Platform, as well as the Microsoft Copilot. Whether you are a seasoned professional or a curious newcomer, the series offers you valuable insight into the powerful tools. Learn from the industry leaders as they share their knowledge and experience, explore advanced features, and we also provide tips and tricks to help you maximize your use on these platforms. So don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and share with your friends, and stay updated as we continue to add more and more content and value. Today, we are going to talk about a bit deep into the Microsoft Build 2024 announcement, some of the hidden gems, and let's quickly introduce very brilliant mind from the industry. And Jorgen, what you are going to tell us today?
I will give a short overview regarding new functionalities that have just been released on Microsoft Build last week, with a little bit of overview with Copilot features in the Maker portal and a nice feature to work with code, not only in the Maker portal, but also use for example, Visual Studio Code. Marius, what are you talking about?
I have joined a session about C# 13, so something you'd need to know if you are developing plugins.
Awesome. And
Sorry.
I will also talk about something from the MS Build from last week about Copilot Studio. Which has got a lot of changes there, UI changes, but also some cool new features which I want to talk about. And plus something not regarding to MS Build, I want to also demonstrate something which I call text to speech, which is, I think, an interesting thing how you can integrate Azure functions in the Canvas app.
Oh, wonderful, guys. So who wants to start first?
Jürgen, I guess.
So, hello everyone. So what I will start with is in the Maker portal, there are some new changes since last week in the MS Build. You may have recognized already the Copilot, and in this version, it's just creating a table, not an app. But I'm now in a preview environment, and that's the important part. You will not find it in your regular environments at the moment. You have to be in a preview environment, I think in the US region only, that's already available. And there you will notice that at the top right, you have this try the new data experience, and you can activate it. You get the hint, it's preview. So handle it as a preview. Don't use it in production or anywhere else unless it's generally available. So first you have to enter something and click on the play button. So it will open the new experience. And you have to redo this as well. So on the far left, you have start with Copilot, describe new tables. And that's really describing new tables. As you can see here in the table options, you will see multiple tables. You can increase the table size to large, and relationships are included. So I will post a little description for an event app. There are no details presented by me, so I leave it to Copilot to generate for me what is relevant information in terms of an event application, which will store session information, speaker information. So while Copilot is now generating it for me, you can see, and that's really what I like, it's creating an entity relationship diagram. So normally I'm doing sessions also talking about how important data modeling is. And here you have now for the first time the possibility to have an entity relationship diagram directly in the Maker portal. And these tables are not created yet. So you can click on them and see the columns that are available. What Copilot puts there into you. So you see, okay, speaker ID, speaker name, expertise, session detail, session name, linking to the speaker and to the event, and small for the event, event date, location, event name. So there are already some more details presented by Copilot than I added. I could ask Copilot now to add something for me, but it's also possible for me to add information here as well manually. So for example, I have at the top the possibility to say add columns and data, and now I can create here a new table which I can still rename, like for example participants. I can change the name and say full name. And what is also nice is if I scroll down, you can see I have set my preferred solution before. So everything that Copilot creates will then be generated for me within my preferred solution. And I don't have any CR22 or anything else prefixes. So it's solution aware already. And so I will click on update. What is also nice is so the participants should be linked, for example, to the session. I can add now a new column, call it a session, and I have more options here than in the current version. So I can select look up and can add here the session details. Save it, and there will be a new relationship created for me, and the data model is enhanced. So I think that's a really nice feature at the moment. I can even have a look at the row ownerships. And as I said, until now, nothing is created. I have to save and open the app, and then the tables and columns will be created. So if I click now on back or on delete, nothing has been created. And if I'm not happy with a table or any columns that is visible, I didn't mess up my data model already. So it's really easy to make changes and have a better starting point than before. So thank you very much. And I will now show you another feature in the Maker portal where we'll show Copilot in the Maker portal. Okay, the other thing that I wanted to show you is in the Canvas app, you now have the possibility to get the code. If you have your app open, you can go to either the complete screen, click on the 3 ellipses, and see here field code preview. And there's a possibility to copy the code and then, for example, put the code directly into Visual Studio Code, make changes. You can also copy the code, send it by Teams or email to someone else, and the person then has a possibility not only to copy the code out of the Canvas app and paste the code, and then it will create the same component, for example, on a different screen with your changes that you made in Visual Studio Code. And the last part, that's also a change that has been added in the last weeks. You have now the possibility to change or to interact with Copilot directly in the Canvas app, and it will write the code for you. Yeah, there it is. So important is you have to start with 2 slashes for a comment and then define what Copilot should specify for you. So for example, if it is before 8 p.m., color should be light gray. After 8 And once you stop typing, Copilot is trying to write the code for you, and you can accept it with a tab. And you can see now it has written a code to set the color based on the time, light gray or dark blue. So at the moment, I think you can only use it for very easy commands, but it will help you, even though if you're not very experienced with PowerFX, you can define what you want to change in natural language, and Copilot will suggest you the formula. And I hope this will, over the time, help you to get better formulas or deeper into the formulas. Thank you very much.
Agree. Okay, Marius, I think you also want to show a few things interesting around the C# updates.
Yes, let me share you my Visual Studio. So yeah, I joined a session on C# 13. Although I can't make any full thing about C# 13 because there wasn't that much interesting for Dataverse developers. But I thought about, okay, I still see in a lot of projects running for multiple years very old style code. So we should talk about what has changed in the language over the years. And I've prepared here two classes, a C# Classic and a C# 13 class, to show some differences, how readability, for example, can be improved. And the first thing is you now can have file scope namespaces. So when you have a namespace, it's usually for the full file because, yeah, okay, it's a class per file and one class is in one namespace. So it's a given. I know from my years of project experience, I think exactly two files which have different namespaces. So yeah, you can just write a semicolon behind here, and then you get rid of one of depth, so of your code. And the second thing, and this is really nice from C# 12, I think, is the primary constructor. So right here, so the classic style is you give in a parameter. These are all parameters from the Microsoft SDK that you usually use. Then you assign it to a private member. So in total, this is 3 lines per parameter. And with the new style, I can just get away with 1 because the rest here, so assigning this and defining the member, is done implicitly by the compiler. And that's just really nice in terms of readability because, yeah, okay, everyone knows that if I give a parameter organization service, it will end up in the variable organization service. Another nice thing, I think this came back somewhere C# 7 or something like this, but you still find it in code somewhere that C# got pattern matching. So this is something here, for example, I switch on an entity and then it can automatically type this entity here to a contact, if it's a contact. And you also have this with the is keyword, and you see a lot of times that people are working with as and checking the types. You can do this in a one-step operation just by saying if entity is contact, for example. And here this is with the switch statement combined. So again, I think C# 12, the connection expression. If you have here the process accounts takes an enumerable account, so we'll define a list to pass my single entity as a single record list in. And since C# 12, you can just go with brackets around it, and it will know the rest. So I think it will convert it to no, it will automatically convert it to an enumerable in this case, but if it's an array, a list doesn't matter in this case. And it's just much shorter to just write the brackets. So then, what else do I have? In the process accounts, we all know the var keyword, so it auto types from the right side. You determine the left side, or you infer it, I think is the correct term. But why shouldn't this work the other way around? So from the left side, infer the right side. So you can say, okay, if I have a Dataverse context on the left, why do I need to write new Dataverse context? Notice here that this is just an this is not written here. This is not code. This is just a new keyword. So it knows from the left side I need a Dataverse context. So just write new and it will know I want a new Dataverse context. So, and then the thing that is really from C# 13 is okay with the params. So let me scroll up a bit. Even with the C# classic, if I use, so I want to pass multiple contacts here, but I am able to pass them with the params keyword as a single entity. So I don't need to do the new list stuff. This is why sometimes it is like to be used. But in the past, this was only possible with arrays. And this means you need to enumerate, for example, this query I do here with the contact set. I need to write a toArray at the end to really enumerate it. And with C# 13, you can also say with params any collection type. So for example, IEnumerable. And IEnumerable is not enumerated yet, it's enumerable. So I can pass here from my contacts query, I can pass it directly. And if, for example, the code then does not need to enumerate the whole thing, I would have a real performance benefit. Of course, I could have just left so could have worked like here with process accounts, just leave out the params keyword. But then again, I would have to go with the new list stuff, and yeah, it's a nice addition really that we have in C# 13 here. And two more things with this is not C#, this is .NET 9. And just keep in mind, I will show you this here. The framework .NET 9 is independent from the language version. So I can use the language version preview here for the C# 13 and use .NET 9 independently. I could also use it with .NET 8. So the new thing I have here is the index keyword. The index will split out an integer, a running integer, and the contact that I have in the list. So whatever the T is, and this is just nice because when you had to do something like this previously, either you would go with the for loop and then you have an index, but you need to grab out the the contact at position I from the how is it called, from the IEnumerable, and if you go with the for each, you don't have a running index. So here I've solved it with an I, which is incremented in every loop. And yeah, okay, that's just not beautiful. And you can have it a little bit more elegantly here with the index keyword, where you have then the two parameters, I and contact. And last thing, and this is something we need to talk about, there is a new function like count by and max by. So I can count here, this is emails by direction, and then I take the one with the which is higher. So I count emails which are outgoing and which are incoming, and then I just give out, okay, are there more incoming or more outgoing emails on that contact? But I want to warn you, A, .NET 9, so it's not possible in plugins to use these new keywords, and B, you need to think about, and with everything you do in LinkU, in Dynamics, someone at Microsoft had to implement into the SDK, how do you translate that keyword, something like select many or where, into a fetch XML query. Otherwise, it won't work. You need to, in the end, fetch or query expression this whole thing from Dataverse. And likely, I haven't tried, but with count by, this will not be the case. So what you need to do first is you need to enumerate with something like toList before you make those new fancy keywords. Just make sure you have the where condition before the toList. Otherwise, in this case, I would query out all the contacts from the system and then make my filtering in code, and that will be very inefficient. Okay, I think these are everything I wanted to show, and in this short class I was able to save something like 1/3 of the code with these new features. So going back from like C#6 to C#13, that's just nice, right? Okay, yeah, then I think Bülent is the next one.
Here we go. So awesome. So let's try something fancy. If I can share, let me just know if that will work out. So I want to share my screen. And now you should be able to see my screen, right? Okay, awesome. Good. I have two topics as well. So one is referring to MS Build, and the other one is a complete different topic, but I think cool enough just to present to you guys. So first of all, MS Build. There's a lot of things, and Jürgen already have presented part of that regarding Power Apps. There's also about powerautomate. There's also about the whole Power Platform, but also other stacks of the Microsoft world as well. And the Copilot Studio is the one which is one of the most important ones, because with Copilot Studio, you have the ability to extend the other copilots which just come into the space. So, and Copilot Studio got a lot of, love, a lot of new changes, which definitely have to be mentioned here. So first of all, it's a complete new UI change. So if you're just opening up Copilot Studio now and you've worked with that, let's say 1 week before, you will be amazed how the UI has changed. Some your menu items are not at the same place it was before. So we will see that in a little demo quickly. What is important is the following, and this is the part which I think a lot of people are amazed of, and this is Copilot agents. Copilot agent is something new. We don't know so much at the moment about that, but what you need to know about Copilot agent is the following. And this is, let me just drag this a little bit down so I can just see here in that case what I want to show you. Copilot agents will give you the ability that you have longer running processes with Copilot Studio, and that will run asynchronously. So previously, every interaction which you just do in your Copilot chat is synchronously. You type something into the chatbot and you get immediately some results back. Sometimes you just don't get any results back. They'll come back later. I have a headache. Go away from me or something like that. But Copilot Studio will run with agents longer and longer processes. So this is an example of an employee onboarding. So what's happening here with the employee onboarding? So this is one of the templates you can just use. So onboarding an employee can be a really longer process. It's not like that you hire someone, you just put in some kind of a process all the updates, what you just need to know about the company in a few days. And then, need to maybe upskilling yourself in some technologies if you want to deliver in some kind of project, and so on and so on. But what happens with that employee after a few weeks or even after a few months? So, and that's where Copilot agent will comes in. So Copilot is now really a real assistant of yourself. So it takes that task and do it for you. That means it just guides, in that case, the employee through that whole new hire process, and a flow will be triggered, and send an email with an onboarding questionnaire, send recommendation trainings, and etc., etc. And this is not the only thing. You also got some kind of a history. This is also new. That means Copilot is now taking the decisions for you. Previously, you needed to Copilot suggested you something, generate something, and then in the case you say thumbs up or thumbs down. Now Copilot will more or less take the control of that and will guide that. But you're not completely in the dark. You will see as well the whole thought process. So all the instructions, what have been done, and also the reasoning. So why have Copilot reacted like that? So this is something completely new. We hadn't something like that, but it's needed for a longer running process. And as I said, Copilot Studio or general a Copilot will become then asynchronously for longer running processes in the background, which is great. And the next thing, and by the way, it also will not only run longer in the background, it will also memorize everything what you just enter. It will just remember everything what you have just done so far. It will learn from you. It's currently in early access program, so I don't have access to that, but it's really, really interesting just to see. There was also a short 1 minute video about this, but we haven't really learned so much more during build. But I think this is one of the things which currently in our company amazes everyone and hypes everyone at the moment. And hey, we need to learn more about that at the moment. The second thing is Copilot connectors. Has a fancy name, but more or less it's about what is already there in Copilot Studio. But you're now getting to additional things. You're getting now beside the public website which you can just put in, and the files you can just put in, and the SharePoint and the OneDrive, which is new, you can put in. You're now getting Dataverse access. You can now fill in this information with Dataverse. Plus, you also will get, that's currently not available to us, but soon, Microsoft Fabric as a knowledge source. And this is the second thing. They've introduced something which I call knowledge store. So that was previously generative answers, right? They've just rebranded that. Unfortunately, I can't show any of that kind of demo because it's a little bit rusty. It doesn't work quite well. You get an error message like, you're also some kind of error message just got back today because it doesn't work. But, it has been released last week and it will take some couple of weeks till I get this will then running then more and more smooth. You can now publish your Copilot extensions, with Copilot for M365. It's pretty simple to publish that into Microsoft Teams. And there's also something, I think this is not something which is surprising me. You can now, by the way, sell in the future your Copilot extensions to some kind of a app store. So something like we know from the Dynamics world quite well. You can also have some kind of a solution and sell it through. And now Microsoft just says as well, if you have any cool Copilot extensions, you can publish them through the Partner Center and you can sell it as well. You will have a conversational analytics. That means you finally understand, if you just run with Copilot in a topic which you don't have developed yourself, but leave everything to a GPT. In that case, what are the decisions? Why are you getting that kind of answers? You now get a more and deeper insights of all that information now in the future as well. And you have templates. You can choose one of the templates. I can shortly demo this as well. And a new conversational design experience. Now you finally talk with your Copilot in some kind of chat, just ask you some questions, and based on that, your Copilot Studio chatbot will be then created. So how about that? I'm just going in and show you the new design, how it looks like. So first of all, if you go to the home button, it looks like the rest of the Power Platform. So you have like in Power Apps and the Power Automate, all that kind of things. You do have now your area where you can just type in. You have your buttons. You please do something with HR and benefits. Just write it down. If I would click now, and then it would not create now my Copilot there. So this is not really something new, but it's new now in the stack of Copilot Studio. So what is new now is if you just go to the create part. So you do have now your templates. You can just use one of the template and then it exactly creates one, how it's just completely designed like this. So I have done this already for Save Travels. To save us some time, we can just look into this. Or you just go and say, I'm just creating a new Copilot. If I click on this, this is more or less a talk between your assistant and yourself. That means if it says, hey, I'm here to help you to build a new Copilot. So what do you want to include there? And I say, I want to have a new onboarding tool for employees. On the right side, you see then the decisions which will be taken. So primary language is in English. You can change it from here, but you can also say, great, now give us a brief overview of how your Copilot will assist with your onboarding tools, etc., etc. Now, I don't want to play this completely through, but you just get the idea that this is now a real conversation, and based on that conversation, you see on the right side what your Copilot will do. So you can obviously also skip that part if you want, but you can click on the create part. If you click on the create part, what I'm missing a little bit is that cute robot, which was dancing a little bit to you, but that's not there. You see only that, not that fancy Copilot Studio logo there, which is just, coming up and coming down. And at the end, you just have then a chatbot. Well, it's not very, very impressive what I have just created here, because I have not really filled it with live, but hopefully you get the idea how you can just do this. What you see now as a result is here on the right side, now the test to Copilot is not here somewhere in the middle anymore. It's completely on the right side. You can just, fade it in, fade it out without any problems. What's new is now on the left side, you do have all your Copilots now on one list. So if you have 20 Copilots, you see your Copilots there. You have your custom Copilots, and you have the Microsoft first-party Copilots here. So you have Copilot for Microsoft 365. If you look at this, then you have the chance, to work with your actions, and your actions would be, for example, that you create a connector, a prompt, a flow, a conversational. So if I would go to all of that, obviously that would take longer, so I will make it short. What's funny is I have anything with Copilot for sales there. If you click on this, you just get that kind of message. Hey, it's not supported in your environment. So it's there. What is coming next is Copilot for finance and Copilot in SharePoint, and where I expect that all the others Copilot in Power Platform, in Power Pages and all that kind of things will also be supported there in the future as well. Coming back to the Copilot, everything else, what you found previously here on that part, you will see it here. So you have your typical topics, you have your actions here, which by the way is out of preview. You have your analytics, your channels, and you have your top knowledge here. With knowledge, you click on this, you can add now everything like a public website, files, SharePoint and OneDrive, Dataverse, and Microsoft Fabric. And if you click on the settings, you see everything else what you're missing, like the generative AI, security, entities, the languages which you can set up and all that kind of thing. So these are the new things of Copilot Studio, which have been changed. Some of them working quite well. Some of them are a little bit rusty and needs a little bit more love just to work with. But I think this will be coming in the next days and will work a little bit better. So this is a quick recap about what Copilot Studio with the new UI looks like. And that ends more or less and also my Copilot Studio news. Any questions?
So far, so good. I was really amazed with all of the information. Has been, we are blown away with the build. Everywhere the Copilot for specific products or Copilot in general for all. But yeah, thank you, Clement, for sharing all of this, insights.
And now, last but not least, now the thing which I wanted to present to you is also the next topic is the Power app with text to speech. And this is something I was just sitting down because I had that situation in my vacation. I was in Portugal a couple of days ago. I just found out that not everyone is speaking English there very well. So that's my main problem. I don't speak any Portuguese there. And so we had a problem. Even I have the text in Portuguese. If I try to pronounce that, I can tell you, it creates more awkward moments and situations as it creates trust, And that's why I was thinking of how can I, prepare myself in the future. I just have named that Star Trek communicator because I'm a huge fan in the early 80s, 90s when just came. They had a communicator here and just clicked it and it just translated everything into the language of the other person who was just speaking, mostly alien language. But it would always help me if I would say, I don't know where I am here in Lisbon. Can you just help me? And press on that and just translate that. So that's it, the idea which I want to build, but at the moment it's more the text to speech portion. So let me just copy a text. I just have activated that with tone. Let's see if that works. I would be super amazed if that not works, but let's see. I'm new to technology as well. So let me see and start this one. So I'm just entering this part, which I've just copied as a text. What I need to do, I click on a button, which just connects with a Power Automate flow in the background and translate it there. And let's see if the text works.
Allow users to build Copilot faster with pre-templates and tracking. Travel assistant.
Could you hear that? Some kind of. Okay. Just believe me. Just believe me if I say the wording is really good. And the wording also works as well. If I just put it into a German language, another language, it works quite well. Not 100% perfect with the pronunciation sometimes, you know, but it is really good. You can throw out a text and it definitely helps you on vacation. So the overall question is, or a 1 million prize question is, how does it work? So in that case, I just jump over to my portal in Azure. So you need the Azure functions for that. And you have a lot of cool things in Azure functions. One, you just have access to it. If you go to services, you have a lot of cool things. One of the things which is also cool, which I will definitely deep dive in the upcoming months, is Azure AI Studio. You know, if you can't do the things in Copilot Studio, you have to jump in and have to do that in Azure AI Studio. But in our case, what we want to do is the speech services in that case. So let me just go back. So I have just generated that speech services here in that case. So how I just do this, I can just show that one day, but I just make it more or less short in that case. If you jump to the speech search, then you jump automatically to the speech studio. And if you go to the speech studio, you have a lot of speech to text options, you know, real-time speech to text. And if I go in here, then you will just see that you will have a lot of that kind of resources. So I've just configured everything already for myself. So then you can just also search for one of them. So let me see if I can find that one where just, hey, that was the one I was searching for, voice gallery. In that voice gallery, you have examples. I've just taken now Ava multi-language, which supports up to over 90 languages. That means if I fill in something in German or in Portuguese or whatever else as a language, it just exactly came with the same pronunciation in that language, which is fantastic and it's a great use. So you can choose any one of the female voice, male voice, what you like. So I've decided to go with this one here because that sounded quite good for me. And once I just have got all that configuration, what I need to do is, and now I'm just jumping back now to my Canvas app, I need to configure that with PowerAutomate in the background. So what I just do is I'm just clicking here and just open now in that case the edit mode, and I'm just going to PowerAutomate. And the PowerAutomate is really, really simple, really simple. It's not complicated. You just need to know how to fill in that with that post HTTP. Everything, that is the magic at the end. So what you're just doing is here, you're just getting some value delivered, you know, and this is the text which I want to get, you know, at least be spoken. And then you just set that HTTP tile, an action. It's a post method. This is the URI, which I'm just connecting in Azure function. So that in this case, it would be somewhere in the East US, but it can be anywhere else. It can be also be Germany, whatever is the preferred way. So these are some headers. I even have to look up for this as well. You just need to put it in, you know, this is a subscription key and this is a RIF and this is the application name and etc. etc. And then in that case, you just need to say in that case, it's a female, it's an AVA multilingual neural one. You put in the text and then it got converted. What you need to do is a compose, you know, to convert it into some kind of base 64 audio content and you shoot it back in that case. And that's all. It's not a really complex Power Automate flow in that case. What you're just getting back is, this is the code. If you just click on this, this is the code at the end. You're just getting how you just get that converted. And in my button, you just do that kind of magic. So first of all, we're resetting the audio. So everything else is just deleted. Then we're setting a variable where we're just running the starter communicator flow, where we're just putting the text input. Then we just say play audio content false and play audio content true, but you can just ignore that for the moment. And at the end, if you're just getting in here, the media, what it shall play is that kind of that content, raw audio content just converted. So what we're getting back from the Power Automate flow. And if you just do this, you click on the play button and then it exactly plays this one. So the idea, which I just haven't fulfilled, is I want to type in more or less the text in German in that case. It shall be translated to any kind of language I just want. And if I click on that translate button, I will also mention that translate and not that button anymore, then obviously it automatically then plays that one once connected. And this will make communication in the other country a little bit easier in that case, at least I think it's like this. I haven't tested it out, but I think this just to see how you can combine the Power Platform world, with the Azure world. It's really easy at the end. You just need to know how to combine this and know the keywords. So that's a little translation, little demo of that. And yeah, let's see when the starter communicator will be ever finished with that cool starter design logo at the end. And so maybe I just have the communicator button as well. So back to you. I think
after your next vacation, you will come back with the thing. Okay, I need something that can do a speech to text and then translate it back to my language, because you are speaking Portuguese now to the Portuguese people, and they will answer to you in Portuguese.
I will give them my smartphone in that case, because you can run this and tell them if you want to say that, you can just use please that field, and then press on the button and it will be translated. I mean, what you can also do is the Azure functions also, converting that audio, and you can save that audio in some kind of database, and you can just make a little nice dictionary for your vacation. There are also tools which you can obviously use, but just for the fun that you can also do something on your own with Power Platform is just amazing.
Good. Awesome, Duane. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. I will just quickly provide the top 10 features which I like most from the Microsoft Build announcement. So I will start probably with the 3 top features which is not available right now, but which is already in the pipeline, which are coming soon. So the first thing is we can extend the copilots in the SharePoint. We already heard about that. So we can customize with the additional knowledge and the actions with the Copilot Studio. Second one is the multi-model support. So we can add a Copilot to our meetings and, to get an analysis of the content in a shared screen. Okay, what has been discussed, how many times people talked about my name and so on, in what context there was, something around like that. And then we have an image input support as well. So now the good part is like the end users can add the images directly into the chat. So that 3 is basically in the pipeline, which is coming soon. But now apart from that, we have a couple of them which is already into the the general availability or already in the public preview. So I'm more always concerned about the security, and the security related with the security enhancement. We can have an admin defaults, we have audit logs, and we have a sensitivity labels now available with that. And then we have another part where we do the conversational analytics. We have a richer KPIs for the Copilot performance, and the more we analyze the performance, the more we analyze the KPIs, the more robust we can make it our bots. Then apart from that, we have some kind of the generative action enhancements, which also improve in a behavior and accuracy using the Azure OpenAI ChatGPT 4 support now. So we are just not limited to the ChatGPT 3.5, but it's already been to the ChatGPT 4. This is in the public preview already, but now we have a general availability for the Copilot knowledge base. So we can ground your Copilot in your data source now, and Influent already shown this into when he showed the screen that how much data sources you can able to connect it with that. Other part which is in the public view is the build conversationally, and you can configure your Copilot with the clear chat experience. Then apart from that, we have another public preview, which is more related with template. And then now you can start quickly with a pre-built scenario. So when Bluent was showing the demo, then you see on the first screen, you have tons of the template available. And it will be keep growing, believe me, it will be keep growing. So at one point of time, we would be more calculating that, okay, now we have in the Power Automate around now 1400 plus, connectors, pre-built connectors. The same way we would be probably counting how many templates we do have available into the Copilot Studio. Then we have in general availability, complete user experience refresh. So when Bluent shown, in the demos, you see now the UI is more modern and more fluent for the maker experience. And I personally do like, and it is more attractive than earlier. Put your comments into the comment section that how you evaluate the upcoming releases, what is already in the general availability and the public preview, and your highlights around the Copilot Studio or anything else apart from that from the Microsoft build. So on that note, particularly, I would thank you everyone who are in the call or were watching this recordings later on via YouTube. So thank you to be our wonderful audience, all of the members here in the call. I really enjoyed, and if you enjoyed this content, then don't forget to subscribe to your YouTube channel for more exciting updates and valuable insights. And do share with your teammates and the friends so they can also get some values around there. If you would like to make or hear us on some specific topic, also please put this in the comment and we will try to come up with the specific topic which is on your interest. By the time, thank you so much. Thank you everyone in the call.